Scruffy Audio Network.
Ben, can you turn the music up? if it could just get a little bit louder.
Down.
Oh my gosh. Blasting my ears. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we're getting ready to get started.
Yeah, we are. This is weird. We can't see Ben. I don't know. How
I can see him, and he is as adorable as ever. Oh, man. With that mustache, it's great. Looks great.
Yeah.
Hey.
Can't go in near any schools, but yeah.
Welcome to Why Would You Go There, podcast about travel. I'm your host, Troy, and I've got a special guest in today. What is your name, sir?
I'm your main host, Lee.
I'm glad you didn't say my main man, because that would have sounded really weird for the listeners. I mean, not for
really?
us.
Yeah,
not for us,
I don't
but for the
know.
listeners.
I mean, at this point, I'm not sure they would have think anything's weird.
Gosh. So today we're doing a podcast about where?
Philadelphia.
No, Philadelphia. Not Philly. Philadelphia. Man, that was terrible. So the good news is not practicing anything has worked out well for us.
Yeah.
Let's just go with it. Whatever. Yeah. We
Brotherly love.
It is the city of brotherly love. That's made up of two Greek words. Did you know that?
No.
It is. So philos is love. And that's where you get philosophy is the love of wisdom.
Not like Feliz Navidad?
No. So
okay.
Sophia's wisdom, and then Adelphos is brotherly or brother. It's brother, not brotherly, brother. So it's the city of brotherly love. Yeah,
I had no clue. Are you? Is this one of those things where you're just making it up and sounding confident?
Nope. 2 years of Attic Greek in college.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I had to remind myself.
New.
Yeah, there's very very little that I remember. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the city of brotherly love, and there are tons of things to do there. The good news is, I've done almost none of them. I have been to Philadelphia. So you, as normal, are carrying the podcast with your knowledge of the city, and I will be carrying the podcast with my jokes. Because that's how it works, right?
You wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, of course. You
know what's interesting about Philly, though, is I have probably been there. I was trying to add it up. I think 5 times. There's a chance it's been 6 times. But every single time it has been less than 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
It's like, just different reasons that I've went there. And I'm not talking about like a layover in an airport. I'm actually talking about like in the city.
Yeah, if you count layovers in airports, I've been there twice.
Okay.
Maybe three times. But really only one time that I spent any real time in the city, and that was just a few hours. With some jerk.
Okay. Yeah.
It was you.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it was.
So why don't we start out with you telling us about what are the things that you have to see, since you're the authority on Philly.
Oh my goodness!
What are the things you have to see when you're in Philadelphia?
So I think some people think about the history when they think of Philadelphia, but I don't think most people think about history. I mean.
What do you think they think about bad football teams?
bad fans, bad football teams. Yeah. I'm not sure, but I know. I mean, I think they think of a little bit of a history, but I don't think they think of it as much as it actually is. I mean, there's a ton of history.
Sure.
I mean, that's kind of where we were started, right? The United States.
You mean we personally?
Yeah, you and I.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's so you're going to talk about Independence Hall.
Yes.
So tell me about Independence Hall.
That's a must-see. Definitely a must-see. So that's a building like right downtown. It's where they signed the Declaration of Independence. And 11 years later, they met, for the U.S. Constitution.
That's where the Constitution was created. Yeah, it was ratified there. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
So, I mean, it's still going strong. You can tour it. You can go in there. And, again, that's one of those places that you must see because there's so much history there, so much U.S. history there. What's good about it is it's right near the Independence National Historic Park. So the Liberty Bell used to be at the Independence Hall. But now,
until when? You have any idea?
I don't know.
Okay, but they've moved it to this park now.
They've moved it more or less like catty corner, like across the street to Independence National Historic Park. And this building, the first time I went, it didn't look like there was a whole lot there. Like you can tell it's the
not
national
very impressive.
Park. Yeah, I mean it's like a nice old building. Like there's a lot of those there, and it's like okay, this clearly was something or is something. But I think they've revitalized it a little bit, so it's a little bit nicer. But it was not like anything that I thought, okay, this is where the Liberty Bell is.
Yeah.
And it is.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. And what's really cool is, a lot of times when you have something as historic as the Liberty Bell, you can't get real close to it, but at this place you actually can.
Yeah, so I looked it up on. I didn't look on TripAdvisor this time. I just went to the Visit Philly website. It's just visitphilly.com, and there's pictures of people that are right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can touch it.
Yeah,
I think it's right there.
I'm not sure if you can touch it.
Well, they had
but
some
you might
pictures
be able
of somebody
to.
taking a selfie, and it looked like there was no barrier around the Liberty Bell.
I don't think that there was the first time I feel like there was the last time I went, but the first time I went, which was probably, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, there was one, but or there was not one for sure. But I feel like there was the one the last time. But either way, you can still get very, very, very close.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. And I think it's really cool. My wife was a little underwhelmed. She's like, "Oh, this is it."
It's a bell.
Yeah, I think she thought
it
it was going to be 10 feet tall and 10 feet wide, but it's not. It's a bell. It was a practical bell back in the day. So for the history, it's incredible just because you can get so close to it and you can see it. But some people may look at it and say, "Oh, is that it? Interesting."
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
Okay.
So it's definitely a must see. And again, and
it won't take you long.
It really won't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There's obviously plenty of things that you can read about it there, so you can spend a little bit of time reading some different.
But since you can't read, it really didn't take you any time at all.
No. I only take pictures, so yeah. Nice. Was that one of those jokes you were talking about?
Apparently not.
But those are two of the biggest must-sees I think that you would associate with Philly. And then probably the third is on Benjamin Franklin Parkway, which obviously everybody knows Benjamin Franklin, great inventor. Do you know what all he invented?
I know that he invented bifocals. I think he invented some kind of chair that folds into a ladder. I don't know that he invented a lap desk, but I know that he built lap desk. There's a lot of other random crazy stuff that he invented. Give me a list. You have a list?
I'm trying to look it up now.
Oh, God. You can't.
Yeah,
please be
so
prepared.
you're right. Bifocals, a stove, lightning rod. Let's see here. But it's crazy some of the stuff that I've seen that he's done before. It's just like,
and
wow.
He is associated with Boston in a lot of ways. I mean, he lived a lot of his life in Boston, a lot of his life in France. But when you go, there's a huge monument in Boston to Ben Franklin, and they say, "Yeah, this is not where he's buried. He's buried in Philadelphia."
Yeah.
There's a huge monument to him right there, and it's in a cemetery, and you think that it's Ben Franklin's grave. It's not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good knowledge there.
Yeah, well, that's just from Boston. Try to work Boston into everything.
Yeah, well, when you talk about history, that's another city.
So what else?
So swim fins and something that you might be familiar with, a catheter. Urinary catheter.
So why did he, necessity is the mother of invention. Why did he feel like he had to, maybe he had a problem?
To invent a better catheter in 1752 when he saw that his kidney or bladder stone-stricken brother had to go through.
Okay.
They were at the time they were simply rigid metal tubes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, well, that's
none too pleasant. You think?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know that anything is going to be too pleasant.
That's
yeah.
Very
so
true.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah. So he's obviously invented a ton of stuff, and I think it's. Not everybody knows exactly how much of a genius the guy was. I mean, ahead of his time.
I feel the same way about me.
Yeah, it's so true. You're so ahead of your time. But anyway.
But there's something else that is associated with Philly that is a must-see that you haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
And
mention it. What is it?
It's Rocky.
Rocky.
Everybody knows Rocky.
Adrian!
Everybody knows Rocky is from Philadelphia. And, it's got those iconic steps. What is the building that you're running up for those Rocky steps?
It's outside the art museum, the Philadelphia Art Museum.
So there's a statue of him there, and then there's those steps, and I think everybody wants to go run up those steps. And I'm speaking like everyone that listens to this is going to know what we're talking about, but I'm guessing that some of the millennials have no idea what Rocky is, which is a shame. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, maybe not, but surely they do. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's very cool. I've been there a couple times, and both times you literally just see people doing exactly what
running
Rocky
up
did,
steps.
running up it and taking
throwing their
pictures and
hands up
stuff.
in the air.
And I was obviously one of those. So yeah. So
did you punch anybody? Because that would be your dream.
Of course.
Did you chase a chicken in the mean streets of Philadelphia?
The chicken is open.
I'm going to chase this chicken, run up these steps.
Yeah. But
I wonder if Bill Belichick's ever run up those steps because he looks like he's from a Rocky movie, not in body shape, but in clothing. He's always wearing these.
He looked like a boxer.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. So the Benjamin Franklin Parkway, there's other things there. It was designed or maybe compared to Champs-Élysées in
Oh
Paris.
yeah! Wow, good job.
Yeah,
almost sounded French.
Well, oui. Yeah. So that houses like the Museum and Art District, which is where the Rocky statue is, and the Philadelphia Museum of Art is where that is, and then it's got the Barnes Foundation, which has one of the world's best collections of French Impressionist and Post-Impressionist paintings.
Cool. Oh, I love Impressionism.
Yeah. And then there's Moore College of Art and Design, not like Moore, M-O-R-E, like M-O-O-R-E.
That's somebody's name, yeah.
And the Rodin Museum, which has like a ton of statues or sculptures.
The Rodent Museum?
Rodin, R-O-D-I-N.
Rodin.
I probably said it wrong.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. What else?
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't go to those. But yeah. To that one. To the
Rodent.
I didn't go to the Rodent Museum. But yeah, so a lot of museums and art there. So
do I see something written on the board where you have penitentiary written?
Yes. Tell me you've heard of this, please.
The penitentiary? Yeah. Only when I was visiting your mom.
You're going to. Actually, I'm going to because I'm about to kill you. Sorry, this escalated quickly. So, yes, the Eastern State Penitentiary. So, do you know anything about it?
No, I've never even heard about it.
So, it's in Philly, basically. And it's one of the most famous, and at one point in time, it was the most expensive prison in the world, and it held Al Capone.
Oh, wow. That's a shock to me.
You do love some Al Capone, right?
Yeah. I like
your
gangsters.
thug.
Yeah, I like gangsters.
Yeah.
That's what I aspire to be.
That is so true.
So he was in Philly.
Yes.
I'm surprised.
So I don't know how long, but yes, he was there. And, if you've ever paid attention or listened to some movies, it's mentioned the Eastern State Penitentiary before. So yeah, it was very well known at the time.
So can you tour this place?
Yes. So that's why I bring it up. I have not done it, but I told myself if I go back, I'm going to do it because there's been a few people that have told me to do it, and I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about it the first few times I went. I had no clue that you could do this. But yeah, I mean, it's known for like obviously being like super creepy and
you fit right in.
Dilapidated. Yeah. And it's
so is it like a ghost tour or something?
Yes, you can do a paranormal investigation tour is what it's called. So yeah, it's just interesting. And then I know you're going to love this, and I'm not because the guy creeps me out. But there's an audio tour by Steve Buscemi.
Oh, I love that guy.
I knew you would.
What?
Gosh, that guy's creepy.
I love that guy.
He has to be a perfect person to give a creepy tour.
Oh, yeah.
He is.
He's
great. You or him would be the perfect creepy person.
That guy's perfect because he can be a gangster or he can be in an Adam Sandler movie and just be goofy.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Or he can chop people up out in the middle of North Dakota.
I don't know if he was chopping them up. I think he was just running them through a grinder.
Sorry.
That's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all great.
So that's one of those things that I would, at this point, I would say is a must-see based off of the feedback that I've gotten from other people that have went and done that. And it is just very unique.
Sweet. So folks, let us know if you've been there, and we'll talk. We want to talk about it on the next podcast, which we didn't set ourselves up at the beginning of this podcast to do, but we'll do that at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
So, what are some other places that you think folks should see?
So, I think those are the main must sees. And again, I've been there multiple times. I've just never spent an extended amount of time in Philadelphia, which I'd like to do at some point. But those are like the must-sees if you're only there for a few days or a day or two, like I've been a few times. Then I've got some maybe-sees. Fishtown. It's kind of...
Fishtown?
Yeah. It's kind of an up and coming like hipster area with a bunch of different galleries and studios, restaurants, that kind of thing. And
is that like the waterfront? Because I saw something on their website that said the waterfront has been revitalized. So is that a different area?
I don't think that is, but that's actually one of the other places I was going to mention. Thanks for jumping ahead. But the Boathouse Row
is that the waterfront part?
Yeah, so it's part of it, and it's along the river that kind of goes through it goes through the city, and it's got all these different like rowboat houses from rowing clubs that are over 100, 150 years old.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of history in Philly.
Yes, yeah. So it's very scenic, and again, that's the part that's coming a little bit more revitalized. So maybe that Fishtown is there too, but I think Fishtown is like a little bit east of the city.
Okay.
So yeah, those are kind of the maybe-sees, I would say. So yeah, if you're there for an extended amount of time, then that's where I'd go.
So let's talk about other than the movie Invincible, how terrible the sports are in Philadelphia. The worst sports fans of all time.
Wow.
But the movie Invincible is incredible. But other than that, that's the only thing that made me ever not hate Philadelphia. Because as a Bucs fan, I hate the Eagles because they knocked us out of the playoffs several times. Yeah, well, we haven't been in the playoffs enough for a lot of teams to knock us out. But they kept us out of the playoffs one year and then knocked us out of the playoffs 2 years in a row. And then we trashed them and won the Super Bowl. But that was back in my youth. It's been a long time since the Bucs.
So like 70 years ago?
Yeah, exactly. So I do understand they have great sports, right?
Yes.
So they've got the 76ers. Have you done? I assume you've done some games there.
I have. So I've done the 76ers game.
All of them? Oh, you said game. Dang it! I was ready for that joke and you messed it up.
I am so sorry. Yes, sorry to mess up your joke. And then
again, it's not very funny.
Yeah, no, not at all. The Eagles. I saw the Eagles play the New York Giants the year the New York Giants won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So that was kind of cool, with Eli or I guess the first time with Eli. And that was a great game. Their fans, they're just hard. I mean, they're passionate.
Yeah, those are the fans.
They're just tough.
Those are the fans that threw snowballs at Santa Claus.
Yes. Yeah. So they're tough to please, but they're passionate. I mean, so they're fun to watch, but it's a tough town for sports if you're an athlete there. But that was a great place to go. Really liked that field. And then I also saw a Philadelphia Phillies game one time there. So they're playing the Atlanta Braves. So that was kind of cool also. So all three of those stadiums are pretty cool. And what's even better about those is they're all right beside each other.
Oh, really?
Basically, they share like one.
It's kind of like Seattle, where they're all and Detroit.
Yeah,
they're kind of sports complexes.
But these have three, whereas those other ones only have two.
Yeah,
so it's really cool because they're all just like sharing a huge parking complex. I mean, they're not sharing. I mean, but it kind of intermingles.
That's kind of the way. I mean. Best case scenario, that's the way that you would set it up. I mean, it doesn't work that way in most places because of space.
Yeah.
But it could work that way in Detroit. They have enough space there that they could.
But it's interesting because, they have 4 sports teams there, and the basketball team and the hockey team share the arena.
Oh, really?
What's Wells Fargo Arena?
Okay.
So I haven't seen a hockey game there, but I've seen the football and basketball and baseball, and they're pretty cool. I mean, they're good venues. I've actually seen like a NCAA March Madness game in the Wells Fargo Arena also. So it's a good arena.
Okay, cool.
But so if you're a sports fan, it's a fun place to go just to watch a sport because again, they're very passionate. Sometimes you might not always want to take your kids.
Do a lot of swearing.
There may be a few of those.
Powerful language.
Few of those. But you can't say they're not passionate. That's for sure. So, so I would say that's probably the reason I've only spent a few, 24 hours or less in Philadelphia most of the time is because I've been there for sports.
Yeah, and you're just trying to get the heck out. with your life.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd highly recommend a sports event. And then just a couple other things that I wanted to mention, along with the maybe sees, is the zoo is actually known for being really nice. I haven't been there, but we looked it up when I was there one time and we almost went, but it was a little rainy and just not great outside, so we decided not to. But it's universally known for maybe not being like in the top 10, but probably around like the top 15 or so of
That's awesome, because I'm going to guess that me and most of my listeners most of our listeners have never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but the good thing about it is it's right downtown, so it's really close. You could go to that. And then Chinatown. Chinatown's actually really cool. Yeah, you should walk to Chinatown. So I've been to several Chinatowns, and it's definitely behind New York, and definitely behind Boston, and probably behind San Francisco, but I would say it's right there after that. I mean, it's one of the nicer Chinatowns that I've been to. So if you're interested in seeing that aspect of a city, then that's pretty cool. Or if you want some good food, then obviously you can head there. But that's the other two places that I would say are maybe C's. So
you mentioned food.
Oh, I did.
So are you ready to get into talk about what everybody associates with Philadelphia? Is what?
It is a Philly cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteak. So let me ask you a question.
Why didn't you say that same time as me?
Oh, sorry. Let's do it again.
All right.
It's a Philly cheesesteak. Yes. Look how excited we got. Hey, so let me ask you something. Are you Pat's or Geno's?
Oh gosh, what?
Pat's King of Steaks and Geno's Steaks.
Can I say both or no?
I think you have to choose. You have to choose either Cheese Whiz or Provolone.
So,
because people die over this.
Yes, that is very true. So, for those of you that are not aware, this is like a huge topic, and like who has the best cheesesteak. And these two places are right beside each other.
They are right across the street.
And you can. There's tons of different ones in Philadelphia.
But these are the two, and each one of them claims that they invented the cheesesteak.
Yeah. And so it just depends on what you want. Like if you want maybe a harder bread or softer bread, or if you want cheese whiz, or if you want American cheese or provolone, or if you want
you definitely don't want American cheese.
Well, I don't disagree. Yeah. You and I don't for sure. But it's interesting because I like the bread better at one place, but I like
You like the bread better at Geno's. And the meat better at Pat's.
Is that because that's what you like, or is that?
That's because that's what I like.
I was like, hey, you got a good memory.
I remember that because when we went to both.
Yes, we did.
Because we're both obese.
We like food, yes.
But the actual provolone cheesesteak I thought was better at Pat's, but the bread was so much better at Geno's. So I agree with you, and I knew that's what you liked.
Yeah. So. Do you remember how you have to order there?
I think I remember at Pat's that we went right up to the counter and gave them the order through the counter, and then they yelled it out, and I cannot remember.
Do you know what's interesting is when they have like instructions on how to order, so because the lines can get so long there, and there's not.
They were a lot like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld.
That's so true. That is so true. So they have these lines that can get crazy long, and there's not really a whole lot of places to sit, which I think is one thing that I would say I'd like to see improve. They've got some picnic tables or benches.
It's really mostly a get your sandwich and go.
Yeah.
It's a walk up,
which I think is also cool.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be able to sit down and enjoy.
It's very blue collar. Both the places are
very blue collar. But yeah, they're like not having any of it. You just standing there looking at the menu. No. You better know what you want when you get up there. But it's like you say, I want with whiz, or whiz with, and that means with onions, or whiz without, and that means without onions, or if you don't want the whiz,
I do remember that. Now you say that,
if you don't want the cheese whiz, then I don't know what's wrong with you, but but I guess you somehow have to order it without that too. But it's kind of cool just to hear these people, in their Philadelphia accents.
Oh yeah, they are.
I know you love accents. Can you give me?
There's not a chance.
Really?
There's not a chance I could do that. No.
What is your problem?
You give me an accent.
Way to be a bad sport.
Oh man, This will be.
I already did my Yo Adrian. Yo Adrian.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I'm not doing the accent.
Well, that seems rude.
Have you met me? I am rude. But I am not going to try and do a Philly accent right here on the podcast forever.
Yeah. So, well, are you afraid to offend somebody? Because you've never done that.
I've never offended anybody on a podcast.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. Anyway, other than your mom. But I've done so many things to offend her, it doesn't even matter at this point.
That is actually true.
So, there are plenty of other things to eat in Philadelphia. I'm sure there are a lot of great restaurants, but that's really the place that you have to. That's the thing you have to do. Like if you're in Buffalo, you're going to eat buffalo wings.
Yeah.
If you're in Clearwater, you're going to eat Hooters wings.
Yeah.
And if you're in Rome, you're going to eat pasta.
So true.
And if you're in Philly, you're going to eat a Philly cheesesteak. And I would suggest try both. So you can
if you're in Miami, you're going to eat a Cuban sandwich.
Yeah. No, you're going to eat that in Tampa. No. I don't know what you're talking about.
I love how you said yes. Love it. But yeah, you do. I mean, and every time I've been there, I've gotten one from one of the places. But there's so many different places that you can choose from. But those are the ones that you drive up to, and you're like, oh yeah, this is Philly right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is so. If you've seen that movie Invincible, isn't that what it is? Invincible?
Yeah. Great movie, by the way.
Yes, where they're sitting out on the stoop and they just are so blue collar and like that. You can picture. Okay, Geno's is right down the street from wherever they're sitting, and the Geno's is right there because it is so blue collar. But it is a great spot. It's an icon, and so's Pat's. And actually, I like Pat's better as far as the meat goes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good deal.
All right. So what else do we have to talk about for Philly?
I think that's about it.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I think we've kept folks entertained. For at least
obviously
26 minutes now. So why don't we wrap it up?
Let's
give
do
it. Your summary.
So my end summary is I need to keep clearing my throat. I apologize.
You want me to do final thoughts first?
No.
Can you do that?
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So my end summary is I think Philly is a great blue collar city, like you said. I think if you're going to go there, you should try to couple it with like a New
I love
York.
trying to couple it. Oh man, I wish I wasn't there with you. I'd have really. If I was there with my wife, I'd have really tried to couple it.
But yeah, I mean, New York is pretty close, or Washington D.C. is kind of close. So those are good places to go. I don't know that I could go there for a week or anything like that, but it's fun to spend a few days, 2 or 3 days, and if you're like a museum person or art person, you could probably spend a few more going through all those museums. But I think it's worth a visit. And again, there is some great history there, so much history there. I feel like Boston gets a ton of the props for the history, but Philadelphia's got to be pretty close.
Well, unlike you and my final thoughts, I am not going to insult everyone that loves Philly by saying that you can't stay there for a long period of time. I've only been once, and it's just for a few hours, and it's so on my list of places to go back to and spend several days because there's so much history there that I didn't get to see. So Philadelphia, I love you. I'm just kidding. I really don't. I
brotherly love you.
Yeah, I brotherly love you. I think you should definitely try Philadelphia. And the cool thing is, it's kind of a, like you said, it's a train ride. Like if you go to Baltimore, which we've never done a podcast in Baltimore, have we? We need to do one in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Then it's just a train ride up. There's so many places that are right there that are really close together on the eastern coast. We're lucky that we have all these great historical places right there together. And I agree with you. It's easy to fly into New York and then hop over to Philadelphia for a couple of days or something. But that's kind of it. I think that Ben, cue the music. I think we're about ready to get out of here.
Man, 30 minutes.
Sorry, guys. It's not much for podcast. We didn't have a lot of information, but once again, we kept you entertained.
Always. Are you not entertained?
That
was my Roman voice.
That's why I didn't do the accent. It sounded great.
Yeah. Are we going to do our motto?
Do it. Do the motto.
Better to go someplace that you hate than to not go anywhere at all.
All right, that's it. We're out of here.
Let's get out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, you mailed that in.
Yeah. I could tell you were sick. You were such a drag when you're sick.
Oh, yeah. I'm not feeling very good. So, yeah. My jokes weren't as funny as they typically are.
Yeah. When you say not as funny, you mean not funny at all. It's a good thing I was here to keep the show going.
Yeah, way to mail it in. Forget you. I'm going to take some NyQuil. See ya. I'm out.
All right.